The action promises to be hotter than a San Antonio sidewalk, but never a walk in the park when you step into the squared circle known as the Theater of Truth. And hey, Frank Martin appears to be the truth. 27 years of age, didn't start boxing until 18. He's 50-0 with 11 knockouts. Jackson Mariñez replacing Ricardo Nunez, who's his antithesis when it comes to a stylistic matchup. Mariñez started 19-0, but is in the midst of a 2-fight losing streak. And Marinez had his 19-fight win streak derailed in the most dubious fashion when he was on the receiving end of one of the most egregious judges' decisions of 2020 against then undefeated Rolando Romero. And then, if that didn't hurt enough, in his last fight he faced former lightweight champion Richard Comey, and he not only went down for the first 2 times of his career, but he was stopped by Comey in the 6th round. And, well, hey, I don't mean to pile on, but he's coming off a career-long 17-month layoff. And see Bob Santos in his corner? Well, they've been working together for less than a month. I'm just saying. Now, for Frank Martin, however, I'm saying what a lot of people are saying and what Derrick James is saying to him right now. You are the man. You are the truth. You belong here. And this is why I agreed to train you. Derrick James, who is at the midpoint, the front runner for Trainer of the Year, what he's done with Jermell Charlo, what he's done with Martin's promoter, Errol Spence Jr. But tonight, Frank Martin looks to remain undefeated and looks to showcase all of the talents that have made respected trainer and TV analyst Joe Goosen say, I'm hard-pressed to find a single flaw, quote unquote. And speaking of a talent, well, we talked about Errol Spence Jr., unified welterweight champion. He's also a promoter, and he is promoting Frank Martin, and to have him at ringside added motivation. But the planets have aligned thus far for Frank Martin, and with all due respect to Jackson Mariñez taking the fight on short notice, there's a reason he is a big underdog. Well, there's a man who wants to be the top dog at 147 in Errol Spence Jr.
Let's take a look at the numbers for this fight, and one of the things that jumps out as we look at it is the height of Jackson Mariñez, and he's hoping he can use that because he is a pure boxer, and he's hoping that plus the slight reach advantage will help him in this fight. The number that's not on there is 9 days. That 9, which 9 days ago is when he found out about this fight.
The rules for tonight's fights: only the referee can stop the fight. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell, and the fight becomes official after 4 completed rounds. With the official introductions, here's Hall of Fame ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and welcome to the Alamo Dome here in beautiful San Antonio, Texas. As Premier Boxing Champions presents a big night of action coming your way, and it's all brought to you by TGB Promotions and Showtime. And we extend a special welcome to the brave men and women serving around the world and joining us tonight on AFN, the American Forces Network. Well, fans, our opening attraction is presented in association with Man Down Promotions, and our 3 judges scoring from ringside, all from the state of Texas. We have Wilfredo Esperon, Ellis Johnson, and Ursulo Perez. Introducing our 3rd man to the ring, the referee in charge. He'll be giving instructions after the introductions. Introducing Rafael Ramos. All right, fans, here we go. 10 rounds of boxing in a super lightweight special attraction. Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with red trim, joining us from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. He weighed in at 138 pounds with a record of 19 wins and 2 losses. He has 7 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the battle-ready lightweight contender, introducing Jackson El Phoenix Mariñez.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the blue corner in this 10-round attraction, wearing black trunks with silver trim, now fighting out of Dallas, Texas. He weighed in at 137.5 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with a record of 15 wins, no losses, 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight making his Showtime debut, here is the undefeated Southpaw contender and rising lightweight star, introducing Frank the Ghost Martin. And the referee in charge, now to give instructions, Rafael Ramos.
Viene. Let's go. You received the pre-fight instructions, recibiste las instrucciones. Protect yourself, protégete todo el tiempo. Good luck, buena suerte.
Gonna try to roll my R's like Jimmy Lennon Jr., the best in the biz. Referee Rafael Ramos, 32 years of pro experience, working his 524th professional fight.
Well done.
Merci beaucoup. And we get started round one. And speaking of rolling, well, Frank Martin has been doing that, rolling over all of his opponents, going to the body, the southpaw with the jab. And you talk about all of his attributes. And what impressed me the most against his last opponent, which was the fourth-round TKO against Romero Duno, was his sublime footwork.
Yeah, that was impressive, and he threw 32 jabs per round in that fight, which is impressive, and he says the jab will be his main weapon tonight.
Yeah, Frank Martin is a fighter that, you know, right away, once the bell rings, he owns the ring. He makes sure he takes control of the rounds and the fight.
Both of them have 2 first-round knockouts, and again, Jackson Mariñez was riding high, 19-0, went in against then undefeated Rolando Romero, and clearly, comprehensively outboxed Romero, and yet on the receiving end of a horrible decision. And that then led to a second consecutive loss against Richard Comey. He's really trying to salvage his career. His trainer, Bob Santos, who, by the way, was the cut man for Martin in Martin's last fight, said, hey, you can't turn down this opportunity. We got to roll the dice.
Yeah, they're taking a chance here. You know, Marinez fought pretty well in the Comey fight. He was ahead on one of the scorecards, and then Comey's power caught up with him. So he's hoping he can box his way to a win here tonight. That's what he'll try and do.
You know where he also fought really good? People thought he won against Rolly Romero. That was an interesting fight for Marinez. But listen, he is fighting Martin, a really slick, really tactic fighter. Hardly ever gets hit.
Frank Martin in front of Marinez, and both capable of slickness in the sweet science. But when you look at Frank Martin, and again, you look at all the attributes, it's the prototype of what you want from a professional prize fighter. He's been a pro for, well, he's been involved in the sport for less than a decade. You talk about being on the fast track. Nice left or right hand down the middle by Marinez. Less than a minute left in the opening round, a tactical start.
It's a good round for Marinez. And actually, I'm liking him standing his ground. I thought he was going to come out boxing a little bit more, Marinez, but no, he's holding his own.
Half minute left in the opening frame, feinting from both sides, and Martin lands a sharp jab combination by Marinez as he returns fire. Stiff jab from Frank Martin, and boy, he was doubling up that jab against Duno, and a very sharp weapon, and known for that athleticism, former high school football player, high-level wrestler, and now looking to become a prime-time player in pugilism. But good start from Marinez, especially on short notice.
Let's take a look at what these two men need to do to get a victory tonight. The keys to victory. They get a fighter with a 17-month layoff. A quick start is important. That's what Martin wants here tonight. He's an excellent combination puncher, and as this fight moves on, we're likely to see that. His left hand is an excellent weapon, and it has lots of power in it, and we'll see that during the course of the evening.
Just stay focused on that.
As for Marinez, I think he needs to land something early to keep Martin off him, something with a little pop. He's a very good boxer. He doesn't want to stay in the pocket. He wants to move laterally, though he didn't do that much in round one. The counter right hand could be a big weapon for him as Martin starts to come in.
Mismo, round perfecto.
Round number 2, we talk about Frank Martin's athletic background. Played Pee Wee football with his cousin, NFL linebacker Jalen Smith, who actually introduced him to Errol Spence and Derrick James, and the rest, as they say, is boxing history. Off to a great start. And as we begin round number 2, the takeaway from the opening round, biggest takeaway, Abner.
Yeah, you know what, I got to point out once again, Marinez, what he's doing right now, it's really smart. He's not backing up. He's holding his ground. He's trying to make Martin make mistakes. See, and you want to make a miss like that, feint. Just want to see what Martin has, you know, because he's a counterpuncher. Great job for Marinez right now.
And Al, Marinez, as we mentioned, the antithesis of the original opponent, Ricardo Nunez, in terms of style.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Nunez was a puncher. They were expecting him to look for power punching against Frank Martin. But the intriguing thing is that Marinez is staying right in the pocket with Martin, using his jab and his length to kind of frustrate him a little bit.
And he's frustrating the fans. Oh, nice combination there that momentarily staggered Marinez. There's that power and the crisp combination from Frank Martin.
Yeah, that was a good combination. He kind of missed the left hand, the straight left, and he caught him with the hook.
Marinez has faced lefties in 2 of his 6 most recent fights. Both of those were victories. A minute and a half left here in the second stanza. Scheduled for 10 at a contract weight of 138 pounds. Nice counter right hand down the middle from Marinez against the southpaw. And usually that right hand is, what do they say, public enemy number 1 of the lefty.
And Al mentioned about making a statement or making a punch count for Martin to stay back, and that's what Marinez is doing with that right hand.
Of course, Martin has showcased some stellar defensive ability in his blossoming career, and that's already on display tonight too, Al.
Yeah, you know, he was able to spar even in the 9 days. Marinez was able to spar with J.D. Zamora, fighter in Santos's, you know, stable. So that may be a little bit helpful to him. But here in round 2, Frank Martin has kind of stepped things up a little bit.
Yeah, he's put together a beautiful 4-punch combination, and now going to the body with the left hand. Stab to the body, but there's a counter right by Marinez, and Marinez coming forward was expected to be the boxer, but taking the fight to Frank Martin, trying to walk him down. Oh, gets caught there with a left and another left by Martin, and Marinez eating these punches well.
Yeah, he's showing a great chin, but it only takes one good shot to land.
Well, remember, he went down for the first 2 times in his career in his last fight, the loss to Comey, but he absorbed the leather from Martin here in round 2 and is still standing. But a good round for the undefeated Frank Martin.
You find your rhythm, right? Yeah. So listen, he gonna shoot you straight right. You know that. Are you dipping it, you blocking it, or you stepping out from it? You taking it away. You walk behind the jab. You start up, walk behind the jab, walking down. You see how you get into it?
Well, this is the left hand that kind of glanced off Marinez's head, but the right hook would come behind it. And Martin has both a left and a right. You know, some lefties don't have great right hooks, and this is him setting that up with the jab, even though it didn't land, and then there's that straight left from Martin, which is such a good punch.
Control it. Control it. Yeah, it's good, but you shorter, you on the outside. He can keep you out there. Yeah, you closer. Yeah, you're behind the jab, though.
Round number 3 scheduled for 10, and you know Frank Martin known for being selective, about 53 punches a round coming into this fight, but he's also accurate, although his offense in terms of output has been muted thus far through the first 2 rounds compared to what we usually see out of him. But Trying to work the jab according to his corner. Derrick James wants to see the jab more.
Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit more aggression from Martin. I love what he's doing when he's jabbing upstairs, downstairs, and that straight left to the body. You want to keep doing that. And the reason you want to keep doing it is because you want to keep busy. Mariñez busy for him to not throw a leg off the right hand.
You know, normally Martin, 37% of his landed punches are to the body. He hasn't been in position yet, though, to really go to the body much.
Chopping right hand was delivered by Marinez. He tries to go to the body, blocked by Martin, who pumps out the jab, goes to the body with a nice left hand, and making the investment to the body here with 2 minutes left in the third. On cue, Mr. Bernstein.
He must have hurt me, huh?
Double jab there, splitting the guard of Marinez.
Yeah, he's placing those body shots really well, and it's just a matter of time before Marinez starts dropping that guard, and guess what? Martin's going to come on top.
You can feel Marinez trying to figure out how do I get this right hand in. The wheels are turning, and he's trying to paw with the jab to see if he can do it. So far, only sporadically has it landed.
Midway through the third round as we take a look at show stats and the power punches, and wow, 78% and putting his power together here against Marinez. Wow.
Yeah, and that of course is everything other than a jab, but yeah, his percentage landing is pretty extraordinary.
Oh, a counter left hand by Martin. He's corralled in the corner momentarily, trying to bait Marinez as Martin goes to the body, and now putting together consistent combinations.
Yeah, we're talking about how selective he is with his punches, and he makes every punch count. Speaking of Martin, this guy just waits and he lets at least 2 great punches.
And thanks to his footwork, again, you don't want to spend too much time in the corner or the ropes, but man, he is fleet of foot stylistically. And again, started training in boxing at 18, you guys. Think about that. He's only 27 years of age and already at this level of the sport.
Yeah, full-on athletic guy, like you mentioned, wrestler. I mean, what else can he do? I'm sure he can do it all, but right now he's showing great skills in the ring. I mean, well-placed punches. And you're right, is that footwork. Every time he throws a combination, he steps back and he's right in position to let go again.
Frank Martin, stablemate, training with Derrick James, the first male undisputed champion at 154 pounds in the four-belt era. Texas native Jermel Charlo styling and profiling. And again, you guys, would you agree? Derrick James, front runner for Trainer of the Year after what he's done with Errol Spence Jr. against Yordenis Ugas and what he did against Brian Castaño in the rematch.
I would imagine. I mean, excellent performances. I love that hat.
It's perfecto.
Perfect, perfect. But now you have to double, triple shot and go to the body.
Okay? Okay. The pelea is perfecto.
The fight so far, it's perfect. It's good. But you need to double up, triple if you
Pull
can.
that cup hard, Bobby. Slide it underneath. Slide it
Bob
underneath.
Santos with some positive reinforcement for Jackson Mariñez. Frank Martin jogs to the center of the ring as we begin round number 4.
You know, Martin told us that round 3 is when he really starts to think about getting very offensive. So we're here in round 4, and we may see him even step up his attack.
What I like about this fight is that it's barely building up. This is the 4th round, and it almost seems that Marinez is going to show us something different based on what the corner is telling them. You say they're liking so far what they're seeing.
Well, the odd thing here is that he hasn't moved or around the ring at all or boxed. He's been right in front of Martin, and you know Martin's taken advantage of that to some degree in the last couple of rounds, obviously.
Marinez has more than double the ring experience in terms of rounds.
Let it go.
And this is again the education of Frank Martin, and Marinez coming in again on short notice, but known as a good boxer, and some good defense there by Marinez with that body work, and then goes back to the jab. Oh, nice body shot by Martin, ripping to the body with the left.
We're starting to see some combination working for Martin too, and normally he's a very, very good combination puncher.
Yeah, notice that the previous rounds he was throwing 1-2 punches, and now he's letting go a little bit more.
And that's making it more difficult. Round two, four-punch combination was the best sequence of the fight for Martin. A minute and a half left in the fourth. As Mariñez on the ropes, but Mariñez looking to fire back.
You know, if Jackson Mariñez had not been a late replacement and had that long layup, you would look at him as actually almost a perfect opponent for Martin at this juncture. And, you know, he's giving it a go for sure.
And there, coming up on the final minute of the fourth, Mariñez with the right down the middle on the southpaw. There's the jab.
And that's good. You want to risk a little bit more if you're Mariñez.
Jack hook from Martin.
And he's doing that right now.
And Martin's defense very good. In his last fight, Duno never landed more than 6 punches a round in the 3 rounds he fought him.
You gotta follow it up. If you're Mariñez, you can't just throw 2 punches. You gotta throw a little bit more than that because Martin's gonna time you.
Speaking of time, less than 30 seconds left in the fourth as they clinch.
I got it, no punches.
Referee Ramos calling for the break. There's a right hand from Mariñez. There's a blinding kind of a throwaway jab that Mariñez followed up with the right hand. So Mariñez standing in front of Martin, trying to give him the best fight possible here through 4 rounds.
And he's doing it.
You do this all day long. You got to get him uncomfortable. Use your feet to get the angles on him, all right? At the same time, work behind your jab. When your defense is right there, chop, chop, bam, bam. He's trying to counterpunch you as you shoot the shot, because you sitting there, you shoot the shot. Yeah. I got you. Listen, stay low.
In this past round, Martin was able to use the jab to set up that left to the body. We're starting to see Martin invest in the body more. As I mentioned, 37% of his landed punches normally are body shots. And there's that left hand, Abner. That's been a big weapon for him.
Yep, big weapon for Martin.
And we talked about the body work that he is starting to do. And Marinez, it's interesting, has thrown a few himself.
Yeah, Martin coming in at 38% of his landed punches being body shots. That's way above the division average of 29.5%. So making the most of his body shots, making that investment here as we head into round number 5. The undefeated Frank Martin at 15-0 with 11 knockouts, taking on Jackson Mariñez, who replaced Ricardo Nunez, who had visa issues on short notice. Nice right hand by Mariñez.
And you can tell that Marinez was training. I mean, he was definitely training despite him getting last notice for this fight. I mean, if you're Martin, you want to press and test his gas, you know, see if he has any. But it almost seems like Marinez is ready.
And you're always interested to see how someone will respond to being stopped for the first time in a career. And he's doing very well. He's in the thick of the fight with Frank Martin. And on Martin's side, I mean, this is the kind of test you want at this stage of your career. You want to answer some questions. Or am I wrong, Mr. Marinez?
No, I mean, Al said it best. If it wasn't for the last-minute replacement, I mean, Marinez would have been the perfect opponent for him. But guess what? I think Marinez was training. He is ready, and he's showing us something right now.
Yeah, you know, we talked about Martin's defense. One of the frustrations for Marinez is he is fighting well. He's just not been able to land the punches exactly the way he wants. Part of it is due to Martin being a good defensive fighter.
Marinez has had some moments here with the left hook and the right, and that lead left hook has done a good job. And there's a right hand splitting the guard of Martin. A good round for Jackson Mariñez here in the 5th.
Yeah, he had some moments in the last round too, and so you know he's in there competing well.
He keeps landing that right hand, and he switches it sometimes to uppercuts.
And there's a counter left from Martin. Speed on display, but Marinez remains right in front of him. A minute left. Marinez throwing punches. They've each been credited with throwing 24 punches in this round, and Martin has a slight edge in terms of connection great, but man, Marinez again, 17-month layoff.
Yeah.
Short notice. He's not here just to be an opponent, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. And you know, there's a nice right hand from Marinez. He's used the jab so much that the right hand is getting closer, and occasionally it gets in.
And he found a distance too. And also Martin not throwing much, as well as making it, less complicated for Marinez.
Yeah, we talked about, Martin being selective with 53 punches thrown per round coming in. He hasn't come close to that in this fight yet. Nice right hand by Marinez. There's a double jab left. Beautiful combination from Martin. And the plot thickens here at the midway point of this 10-round affair.
Es perfecto.
It's perfect.
Todo es perfecto.
Everything is good. Everything's good. Calm the heart a little bit down and start working the body.
Es bueno.
It's
La
okay.
pelea es muy bueno.
The fight is very good. You have a lot of confidence.
So, mira, finito en el cuerpo. Doble triple es finito en el cuerpo. En el centro, corto.
Their heads will bang together. That was early in the round, and thank goodness there was no cut that developed from that. And Marinez Abner had a moment, didn't he, in that last round?
Yes, he definitely did. He was landing that right hand very well, and then towards the end, he landed an overhand right that got Martin's attention.
And by the way, we talked about Clash of Heads. Twice in 2019, Martin had a cut over his left eye because of clashes of heads.
Second half of this 10-round bout scheduled for 138-pound contract weight after Marinez took the fight on short notice. Martin getting busier. Good counter left hand upstairs by Marinez. And he's known as a natural counter puncher at times. Can be tentative, but man, no more for the speed and boxing ability than power. Brings that experience and slickness to this fight, and he's showcasing some of that here tonight.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, you mentioned his counterpunching. He hasn't done it as much because he's been moving forward against
and yet has had success.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary to Steve and Marsha Farhood, our unofficial scores. Steve, how do you have it after 34 rounds of marriage, my friend?
That's easy, 10-7 round for my wife. But in terms of this fight, Martin looked like he was taking control, Mo, in the second, third, and fourth, placing his shots beautifully. But then Marinez had a big fifth round, so I have it 3-2 in rounds, 48-47 for Martin. He may have to turn it up if he wants to get a decision victory here.
Good stuff, Steve. Again, the best to you and your lovely wife. 34th wedding anniversary as Marinez begins to pump up the volume and, of course, trying to erase the bitter taste of his first loss and then trying to overcome the first knockout loss of his career with 1.5 minutes left in the sixth.
No, and Steve said it well. Martin has to press on the gas. He's got to turn it up because, he's letting Marinez work.
Yeah, this round, I think Martin has been a little more precise with his punches and landed some pretty good shots. But yeah, he knows now he's facing a fighter who is prepared here and is fighting very well.
Marinez went to the body with the left hook, then followed up with the right hand. Nice counter right hand by Marinez, and the left hand again lands with the right through the guard of Martin. So Marinez having success here.
And that was Martin's own fault, man. He came in, he didn't let go of the left hand. He just walked back and waited for Martin to throw right hand. Marinez, I'm sorry.
And again, there's that counter right again by Marinez that lands. So beginning to find success with the counter. There's a lead right hand, and so I'm sure Martin's corner would love to see an uptick in offense, and while his defense has been stellar throughout his career, he has been tagged here in round 6.
Well, we mentioned that Duno didn't land more than 6 punches in any round. That's not the case tonight. Marinez has done it. He's landed, according to the show stats, already 12 in this round.
A much closer fight than anyone would have expected, as Frank Martin and Jackson Mariñez have completed 6 rounds. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, Mauro, thank you very much. Mark, Ray Vargas has a tremendous reach and height advantage. How do you combat that?
We train for that in the gym every day, and to win this fight or a footwork.
Do you feel that will give you some difficulty?
No, because my sparring partner is taller than him, so I'm confident.
All right. He's been very confident in what he's had to say. He said he wants your head. He said you're a new kid with a toy, and he's going to put you in a stroller and give you a bottle. Does that annoy you?
No, that's okay. Whatever you say.
Do you laugh at it, or does it even impact you?
He's a funny guy, so that's it.
All right, you got Freddie Roach here for your 5th fight. It's a battle of the trainers as well. How much impact can he have on you in this fight?
He changed my style, changed my career. My punches are accurate, so I'm very thankful for Coach Freddie Roach and Coach Martin.
All right, Mark, best of luck. We'll talk to you after the fight.
Thank you.
All right, Mauro, back out to you.
Thank you very much, Jim. Looking forward to the main event. And we talk about Marinez coming off the career-long layoff. We should mention that he was already scheduled to be on this card, so in fact was indeed training for a fight and putting that training to use here as round 7. The spirited exchange here.
You can feel it, the intensity of Martin coming out in this round, realizing that he needs to step on the gas a little bit.
He's doing exactly that, strafing the body of Marinez, but Marinez again counters effectively.
Yeah, I'm sure he had a earful from the coach, and I'm used to Martin. See Martin use different type of speed, in the fight, and he's showing me that right now.
Most fan-friendly exchange between Martin and Marinez, and according to our unofficial score, Steve Farhood, this fight is now even.
It is shocking that Marinez is standing right there with him, and they're having some fine exchanges. Martin getting the better of it, certainly in this round, but these exchanges are fun to watch.
I called this the theater of truth, as we've done throughout many, many years, and we're finding the truth out about both fighters here.
And the interesting thing about that, Al, is that, Marinez is a good boxer. He knows how to use the ring. He knows to throw a jab. But this works better for him, I think, because he's really, Martin is thrown off right now by what Marinez is doing.
Marinez started boxing at 9, had over 300 amateur bouts. Turned pro at 25, so he got a great start as a professional, now just 31, so some great stuff here between Martin and Marinez, and we're seeing a lot of power punches thrown here in round 7.
Yeah, and the edge certainly to Martin at this juncture in the fight, but Marinez has landed his share as well. When you're landing 53% as Martin is, that's exceptional.
Marinez keeping it competitive.
Martin landed a nice right hand earlier, and again, great chin from Marinez, because he's taking a few punches right in the chin from Martin, and he's a power puncher.
And this has been a good round generally for Martin. He's done better work and landed a lot more and thrown a lot more. Thrown over 60 punches in this round.
Sharp jabs from Marinez before Martin goes downstairs, and again Marinez lands to the head with the left, and then the counter from Martin.
That was a beautiful
double jab, left hand to the body by Frank Martin. And the right hand from Marinez. Both of them are scoring, although Martin being credited with outlanding Marinez. 2-1, sharp left hand by Martin to Marinez. Good counter left by Frank Martin as we complete round 7. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, Mauro, thank you very much. Martin Butter will translate for Ray. Ray, how do you use your height and reach advantage, make it to your advantage in this fight?
¿Cómo vas a utilizar a tu altura y a tu alcance para que sea tu ventaja en esta pelea?
Claro, hay que salir con una buena estrategia para salir adelante en la pelea, y pues bueno, ya son herramientas internas que vamos a ir manejando.
We plan to come out with a good strategy in this fight, and they are internal tools that we plan to use and show the fans in this fight.
Why have you been so confident leading up to this fight? What gives you that confidence?
¿Por qué has estado tan confiado de cara a esta pelea? ¿Qué te da esa confianza?
No estoy confiado. Yo creo que el confiarse es llegar perdido a la pelea. Más bien estoy seguro de lo que he hecho, de lo que puedo hacer, y mi trabajo lo ha respaldado.
It's not that I'm cocky, because being cocky will lose you the fight even before you get into the ring. It's just that I'm confident in my preparation and what I have done in order to be ready for his challenge.
Best of luck, and we'll talk to you afterwards. Thank you. All right, Mauro, back out to you.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. This is round number 8. Referee Ramos calling for a timeout.
Let's go!
He's waiting for the ice to be cleared from the Mariñez corner, and the action resumes. And coming into this fight, Mariñez was credited with landing just 18% of his 51 punches thrown per round as he bounced off the ropes from Frank Martin there against Comey Romero. Mariñez doing better than that in this fight, but not off to a great start here in the 8th.
And that's a continuation of the last round where Martin did so well.
Yes, sir. The last round he got hit with heavy shots. Mariñez did, and Martin is just following it up with that.
Lead right from Mariñez.
And you see that how these men have done as the fight moves into its latter stages. Both men are 1-0 overall over 10 rounds.
And Martin has fought past round 6. Well, now for the 3rd time, he knocked out Jerry Perez 3 fights ago in round 7, and on April 20th of last year, went the 10-round distance for the only time against Ryan Kuchowski. That was in August.
No. I got it. Hey, no me lo agarres, okay? Vamos.
Mentioned the amateur work of these men. Frank Martin beat Virgil Ortiz to win the National Golden Gloves Championships in 2016. That was a big win for him. And
nice combination for Mariñez.
So we mentioned Mariñez, a great amateur career, and here they are in the pros, banging away.
Great exchange here in round 8, just past the midway point.
And see, and it's every time that Martin stops throwing. He waits too long, and guess what? Mariñez comes and he lets his punches go, and he lands good.
One of the stories of this fight is that the left hook of Mariñez has been pretty good. He's not known as a left hook artist, and he's not powerful, only 7 KOs in 21 fights, but he can land that left hook.
Sharp left hand landed for Frank Martin, final minute of the 8th.
It's been a fun fight and an intriguing one.
Lead left hand lands for Martin. Nice right hand lands for Mariñez. Very close in terms of the numbers. And there's a right hand that lands for Mariñez. Momentarily bothered Martin. Under 30 seconds left in the round. Statistically speaking, one of Mariñez's best rounds, and it comes here in round 8, 15 seconds left. Martin countering.
I thought Martin was doing really good when it first started. Now Mariñez closing this round.
Sometimes you gotta pick the pace up. You letting the guy who's getting sloppy or getting tired, walking down behind the deck, shoot shots. You're not using your legs. Come on. Let's go, come on.
The headline from Derrick James, pick the pace up for Jackson Mariñez. His corner, Bob Santos, has to feel pretty good at the way things are unfolding thus far as we hit the penultimate round of this scheduled 10-round affair. At a contract weight of 138 pounds, Frank Martin riding a 15-fight win streak to begin his career, taking on the veteran Jackson Mariñez, who's trying to snap a 2-fight losing streak.
And one of the things that Frank Martin has done so well in this fight, there's the combination punches. When Mariñez comes back, the power punching, landing 52% of your power punches from Martin is impressive.
Listen, you got to give Mariñez a lot of credit. This is the 9th round, and he's still holding this ground. He's still pushing Martin back. Martin is the more talented fighter in there. I think what he should have done early on is press on Mariñez, work the body a little bit more. Now the fight's getting a little complicated for him.
That's what Derrick James wants him to do after the round 8. That's exactly what we heard from Derrick James, Abner. So you're right, he wants to see him pick up the pace and uptick in his offense. But again, easier said than done against a guy like Mariñez tonight.
But obviously, if the coach didn't think he could do it, you would not tell him. Martin can do it. He's a talented fighter. But, tonight he's having one of those nights. But again, still a really close fight.
We've mentioned the fact Ali's been the 10-round distance once, 2 fights ago. A minute and a half from heading to round 10 here tonight.
Yeah, he had, they both have been there, and he was successful. So he's hoping that he can close this strongly in the last round or two. Steve Fawcett believes he's ahead in this fight, and he may very well be.
And I'm going to add something, too, for Martin. I think he's a really talented fighter, but I think he does unnecessary movements sometimes. He moves too much, without the other fighter doing anything. So he's just got to wait for a certain punch, counter that. And he does that really well.
Combination from Marinez. Martin putting together combinations as well.
A little straight left hand by Martin. It sneaks in there, and that's been an important weapon for him, but not landing as much as he would like.
And he hasn't been as busy with the jab and doubling up on the jab like we saw in his last fight.
Yeah, 100% true, Mark.
Marinez has been hurt. And Marinez goes down with 10 seconds left in the ninth.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
High trauma at the Alamo Dome, and wow! Right at the bell for the 3rd time in his career. Marinez went down, and Frank Martin's power once again on display.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. The important is calm down a little bit.
You okay?
You're okay.
One round.
It's only one round. This is your opportunity now, okay?
Mira, double triple.
Just calm down and
double triple. ¿Cómo te sientes? Double triple igual.
Well, here's where this fight unalterably changed, at least at this moment. That's where Martin hurt him with the right hook was the first part, and then he put him in the corner and ultimately would send him down with that straight left hand. The power of Martin, we know it exists, and after some frustrating rounds, he was able to get the job done with the power after.
10th and final round. Can Frank Martin close the show against the double tough Jackson Mariñez, who went down for the 3rd time in his career, and a timeout has been called by referee Ramos. Mariñez mouthpiece.
That's smart. He's trying to buy time.
And there's a nice right hook that backs up Marinez. That hurt Marinez. The other right hook hurt Marinez. Marinez down again, and the fight is over. Frank
That's it.
Perhaps a tougher than anticipated test against a guy who was trying to salvage his career on short notice. But Frank Martin ends up serving notice that, yeah, I'm someone to be reckoned with here at tonight 138 pounds, but he is a lightweight who is looking to become, a heavyweight attraction in the division.
And what changed was Frank Martin found a home for the right hook, which he hadn't landed as much earlier, and that punch was the power punch that did in this man, Jackson Mariñez, who is on a tough 3-fight streak where he's showing us skills, but he just hasn't been able to get over the hump.
That was a great fight for Martin, a great win, but not just, obviously the decision, how he got the knockout, but just the whole fight itself, because he learned a lot from it. And I think it's, obviously how he closed it and how he was able to, we knew about his power, and it happened, obviously, in the last round.
And even dozen knockout victories for the now 16-0 Frank Martin.
Well, the troubles for Frank Martin started in round 9. And we mentioned that it was the right hook that started to emerge. That was the right hook from Martin that started the problems. And then, of course, a very good combination puncher, continued there to send Marinez down. And then in round 10, Abner, it was that dreaded right hook again.
Yeah, you saw a hurt fighter. He came out really hurt in this last round. You know, he tried to buy time. He spent the mouthpiece, but, you know, it was just too late. He was too hurt, and then Frank noticed that, and he went for the attack.
Boy, those right hooks were just devastating, and ultimately it was too much for Jackson Mariñez. And we take one more look at it. Just doubling with the hook here. He doubles with the right hook, and that, you know, superb work. And as we pointed out, not every lefty has a great right hook like that.
No, and not only that, the placement of the combinations. It's not just one punch. He's putting together body shots, uppercuts. There it is. I mean, a little bit of everything. A barrage of things.
Frank Martin's promoter, unified welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. Frank Martin, man down, indeed, as Frank Martin improves to 16-0 with 12 knockouts, and well, Derrick James continues to have a tremendous 2022.
Yeah, he's having a pretty good year for himself, isn't he? And this young man, learning experience, he did a great job.
Errol.
Yo.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 30 seconds in round number 10. Our referee in charge, Rafael Ramos, stops the contest. He is the winner by way of technical knockout and still undefeated, Frank the Ghost Martin.
Tough fight, impressive finish for Frank Martin now.
You know, these are the learning experiences that fighters talk about needing to have, and Mariñez came here ready to fight. As we said, he was, you know, ready for a different fight. He fought very well tonight and gave Frank Martin a chance to learn.
Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, Mauro, thank you very much. Congratulations, Frank. Is this a bit more of a struggle than you expected from Jackson, considering it was such late notice for him?
I mean, I was ready to go the distance, all 10 rounds, whether I got a knockout or not. You know, I've been training. Me and Derrick James been putting in a lot of hours in the gym, so we was ready for whatever.
What did you learn tonight?
Just being more patient, being poised, don't be so anxious, you know, and we back to the drawing board just to get sharper.
Why were you able to connect on such a high percentage, 49% of your power punches?
I'm just an accurate puncher.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of that accuracy when you finally caught him here in the 9th round. If you can take a look, Frank, here in the 9th round and tell us what was going on from your vantage point with these combinations.
We had to really stay on the outside of that hook, so once I started seeing that I was able to stay on the outside, I was just doubling the two and coming back with that hook. We've been working that, so it came through for us.
And then that was the 9th round. Now here's the stoppage in the 10th.
I was on him. I was hungry once I had him hurt. You know, he was in deep water, so I had to get him up out of there.
And there was the end of the fight. And now we look forward. Where do you think you fit in the division with Haney and Tank and Kambosos and so forth?
I'm right there with them guys, you know. Sit me at the table with them. You know, whenever I'm ready to give me a shot, you know, I'm going to be ready.
Would you like a little bit more experience, or you think now's the time?
I'm going to sit down with my team, and, you know, we're going to talk on that, and hopefully we get something going, something big.
Frank, congratulations. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. Thank you. But at the end of the day, we want them all.
Appreciate it. We'll look forward to more. All right, Mauro, back to you.
Thank you, Jim.
The numbers, one of the numbers that jumps out at you, of course, is the percentage landed by Frank Martin of power punches, landing 49%. Very, very impressive. And we see by those numbers that Jackson Mariñez did some good work and that made this a good fight. And this young man, Jackson Mariñez, 3rd straight fight, he ends not the way he wants it, but he's acquitted himself very well.
Let's check the judges' scoring now with Steve Farhood. At the time of the stoppage.
Well, Mo, they finished 9 rounds, and predictably the 9th round was 10-8 for Frank Martin on all 3 cards. That really boosted him further ahead than he had been. All 3 judges had him pretty comfortably ahead by the end. Let's take a look at my card. Very similar. I gave Marinez 3 rounds, the 1st, the 5th, and the 6th. But again, the 10-8 round and the 9th, that pretty much clinched it and told you that Martin was going to win the fight. So a good win on all 3 cards. Martin was clearly ahead.
Frank Martin receiving his flowers, including from Errol Spence Jr., the unified welterweight champion, man who is helping guide the career of Frank the Ghost Martin, getting his, well, getting a lot. This guy's a guy who's on the rise in lightweight division, and we're ready now to, well, continue to eat. He wants a seat at the table, Brian Custer.
Yeah, he does. You know, Errol Spence Jr. told me when he saw him fight, he said, I've got to sign this kid because I believe he can be a champion. He calls his fist thunder and lightning, and when lightning strikes, guys go down.